Thank you, Madam Chair. The Indian Law Resource Center is pleased to present a few comments during this final consultation among Indigenous peoples and member states. We support and align ourselves with the substantive comments of the Central Council of Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska and many others this morning. Today, in this final consultation, we want to address the issues of regional representation and the mandate of the selection body. Both are closely related. As others have rightly pointed out, operative paragraph 20 stating that the selection body shall seek to ensure commensurate representation across regions is very problematic. The task for the selection body is simply to should simply be to receive applications, apply objective criteria, and accredit all genuine, legitimate Indigenous institutions, regardless of arbitrary considerations like what region the applicant is from, their gender, or their age. Indeed, the body probably should be renamed the Accreditation Committee, as that is a more apt description. The accreditation body should not apply any subjective criteria, nor weigh applicants against each other based on some arbitrary formula that seeks to ensure proportionate representation among regions for those accredited. There is no guarantee that such a formula would work, and there is no guarantee that regional balance in accreditation will result in regional balance in participation. But more importantly, there is no basis for holding self-governing Indigenous institutions to such a standard. No other entity in the UN system is held to such a standard, and it could lead to the marginalizing or silencing of Indigenous institutions for no other reason than that another institution from the same region has already received accreditation. For these reasons, the resolution, we think, should not insist on exact parity by region in the accreditation process. It seems the reason for reference to commensurate representation stems from some concern among states that not all Indigenous voices have been represented from each and every region in the consultations over the past year. This process, however, has been ongoing for many years. Indigenous peoples from all regions have been widely consulted beginning in 2009 with the decision of the Human Rights Council to request the expert mechanism to prepare a report on this issue. Subsequently, Indigenous peoples from all across the world were widely consulted during the extensive preparations for the World Conference from 2010 to 2014, as others have mentioned. This is well documented in the proposals of the Indian Law Resource Center that were supported by more than 150 Indigenous institutions in North, Central, and South America, as well as the 350 delegates from all regions of the world during the Alta Conference in 2014, and also during the electronic consultation phase of the previous president's consultation process between March and April of 2016. All of these inputs are publicly accessible. To use the so-called absence of voices from certain regions to prolong this process, or worse yet, to create arbitrary numerical limitations on accreditation in the final resolution, will only serve to further diminish and marginalize the voices of Indigenous peoples. Are member states held to the same standard? Are all 193 member states required to have input in the drafting of each and every resolution of the General Assembly? Just as some member states lead certain resolutions, so too will some Indigenous institutions lead efforts to enable the participation of Indigenous institutions and pave the pathway forward. It is patently unfair to punish the participants in these consultations for their contributions and to work to limit their voices by seeking to ensure parity across all regions in their accreditation. We therefore urge the deletion of paragraph 20. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this important process. No other work is more important, we think, than to enable the voices of those Indigenous peoples who have self-governed and self-determined for generations and who have many important contributions to make to the UN. And we look forward to remaining engaged with each of you in finalizing a positive resolution that will at last enable Indigenous peoples through their decision-making institutions to take their rightful place in the world community. Nyalgoa, I thank you for your consideration.